Hello and welcome. Chris from Missouri here, bringing you another video about vintage baseball players. This video I'm going to show you some cards, and I'm going to talk about something about baseball cards that's really near and dear to my heart. This time of year, you've seen some videos about people talking about the Baseball Hall of Fame, and selection for the Baseball Hall of Fame is coming up soon. Right now, there are 8 people that's being voted on by a committee called the Classic Era Committee, I guess. And they've narrowed it down to 8 people that have a chance to get in the Hall of Fame. Now, on Thursdays, I bring you a video about players that aren't in the Hall of Fame that have a chance, or I believe they're the top 5 at their position, that's not in the Hall of Fame. It's called Just a Little Bit Outside, and it's some of those players I think have a chance to get in. So this is Wednesday, and I usually do that on Thursdays. But I'm going to talk about this era committee, about who they're selecting, and about some of the close people that's not in the Hall of Fame that's on my list of Just a Little Bit Outside. And I've talked about a couple of them before, but I'm going to combine it right now and use this as part of my Thursday video and discuss the Hall of Fame that's coming up that will be voted on December 8th. Now remember, these are not the Baseball Writers Association that's voting for these. That's coming up as well. And you'll see that's like guys on that list is like Ichiro and CC Sabathia, two big names that are coming up on this list. These are older players. And in this era, they're players that have made their bones in baseball before 1980, and they're voting on 8 of them. 2 of them happen to be Negro League players. And I'm going to give you my take on it. Plus, I get to show you some cards that's part of my collection and the set that I'm going after of Just a Little Bit Outside. So first of all, there was a video done a couple days ago on Cracking Cooperstown. Now, Cracking Cooperstown is really a podcast, but they also have a YouTube channel, and they are 2 young guys that talk about the Hall of Fame throughout the year, and they do videos about who belongs in the Hall of Fame, who belongs out. Well, they happened to do one a couple days ago of this classic era. They talked about 8 players that are on the list, and they talked about who they thought had a chance to be on the list. And I respect these 2 guys. One of the guys, the show's Cracking Cooperstown, just like I said. But one of them is Dom Staven Sports Cards, who has his own YouTube channel. And the other is Jake of Legends Never Die. And they have incredible channels. I respect them a lot. They're well educated. They study up. They have their own formulas that they vote on who they think deserve to get in. Now, I disagree with them on many occasions, but that's what baseball legendary stuff and people that are no longer playing, that's what happens. You can disagree. But they brought a guy on called Frank, and I think it's a Hall of Fame autograph collector, and he has one of the top autograph collections of Hall of Famers that I know that's out there. I mean, he knows a lot, and I respect his opinion a lot. And I think that his number one favorite to talk about is Hall of Famers, who belongs in and who doesn't. And he and I disagree on some stuff, but that's okay. It's like we're sitting at a bar when I'm watching this video. It's like I'm sitting at a bar with a glass of beer discussing my favorite game. And I love this video. So get over there and give it a like. Subscribe to all 3 of their channels. Subscribe to Cracking Cooperstown. So here's my take on it. So there's 8 players, and all 8 of these players happen to be on my list of Just a Little Bit Outside. Now, I do not, and what I'm doing is I'm getting a rookie card of each of these players. Now, I don't have this list, this set completed yet. And so the first one that I'm going to talk to you about is Ken Boyer. I don't have his rookie card. It's a 1955 rookie card. And I'm just going to talk just a little bit, and you can fast forward it till the end. And at the end, I'm going to tell you who I think is going to get in. Not who I want to get in, but who I think is going to get in. But Ken Boyer's the first one I want to talk about. He's one of the Cardinals' all-time greats. And he's a legend with the Cardinals. And Now, I'm not going to have all the stats in front of me because I'm just talking from here, but Ken Boyer won a few Golden Gloves, and he was known as a great, great defensive player. Now, that's weird to me because, I mean, he did get some Golden Gloves, and he is considered one of the greatest defensive third basemen, especially of that time. But if you look at his defensive WAR and his defensive metrics, it doesn't play out like that. But he is kind of a legend with the Cardinal fans. He did win a MVP, and he's a great player. A few years ago, he had some traction behind him. Now, on this list, you can't put. There's 8 of them, and when people vote, the committee only gets to vote for 3. And I think if everything works out perfect, there's a chance that 4 of them can get in, but that's probably not likely. Now, I don't think. I think Ken Boyer's one of the best third basemen that's not in the Hall of Fame, but I don't think he should be in there right now. So that's a no for me for Ken Boyer that I think should be in the Hall of Fame. Now, that's not necessarily who I'm going to tell you is going to get in the Hall of Fame. Now, the next one I want to talk to you about are the 2 Negro League players. One of them is Vic Harris. Now, this is really quick. Vic Harris is well-deserving. I believe he's mainly known for being a manager with the best winning percentage of all time in the Negro Leagues and in professional sports. He was a good player. He was fast, and he batted .300, but he's still known for being the guy in charge of one of the best Negro League teams of all time. So that's I don't know if he belongs in the Hall of Fame. I really don't have an idea yet. Just wait till the end for me if you would. The other one that I do have a card on, but it's not a playing days card, but he's a Negro League Hall of Famer. And his name is John Donaldson. Now, John Donaldson's, I live in Glasgow, Missouri, and that's 1,100 people. And John Donaldson happens to be born here. And matter of fact, my house is about a par 4 from where he grew up. Now, over the last couple of years, we learned as a town about John Donaldson because of the Donaldson Network that's trying to get this guy in. And he's, we built a baseball diamond with a full-size statue of him in our hometown. I hope he gets in the Hall of Fame. It gives us something to talk about. He's known for being a barnstormer. That's a guy that takes a group of all-stars with him throughout the country and play against local all-star teams made up of who knows who. And that's my only drawback of maybe voting no for John Donaldson is the fact that I don't know what kind of competition he played. He did play a little bit in the Negro Leagues. He did become the first professional scout for a Major League Baseball team. But he's mainly known, and his stats are mainly known for his barnstorming days. Now, he's considered, they say he has like 421 wins with only 160 losses. He's thrown 15 no-hitters. He's pitched in 5 30-inning complete games. He struck out 30 guys in a game before a few times. It's all legendary stuff. But the Donaldson Network went to a lot of these local newspapers throughout the Midwest, mainly up in Minnesota, and tracked down box scores of his stats. So those stats aren't made up. They are collected, and it's not legendary stuff that can't be corroborated. But again, I just don't know the competition. But I think I'll tell you my opinion toward the end of it, but that's John Donaldson. The next person I want to tell you about is Steve Garvey, and I'll do this pretty quick. Again, I'm going to make some mistakes on this video, but I'm not going to edit it. Please correct me at the bottom if you wish in the comments. But Steve Garvey, when I was growing up, I always thought Steve Garvey was a Hall of Famer. You know, as a 10, 12, 13-year-old kid, I saw him and I couldn't differentiate his ability with guys like Johnny Bench and Pete Rose because he was always in their all-star games. You know, he was a most valuable player. He got 200 hits 7 different times. He actually won some Golden Gloves. Now, I give a lot of credence to what Bill James writes about. And I forgot to tell you that Bill James said that John Donaldson was the best left-handed pitcher between 1900 and 1910. So that gives it some credence for me. But he writes about Steve Garvey, and Steve Garvey kind of tried to make himself a Hall of Famer. You know, he's known, he's got 3 Golden Gloves, I think, but his defensive matrix is a negative for his career. He did get a lot of hits, you know, over 2,500 hits. He got a lot of RBIs. You know, he meets a lot of criteria. He looked like a Hall of Famer. He acted like a Hall of Famer. But with this list of 8, I don't know if he's good enough to get in. I don't know if he's good enough to be in the top 3 that really has kind of a chance to get in. But I don't even think he's a top 4. The next person I want to talk to you about is Louis Tiant. And what I wish is Louis Tiant was in the Hall of Fame a year ago. That way his fans could have seen his reaction and watched him play. I mean, watched him give a speech. And he was a legend from Cuba. His dad was a legend from Cuba. His dad played in the Negro leagues. He was the pride of a whole country. Now, Louis Tiant was a flamethrower when he first came in with the Indians, and you know, high in strikeouts and stuff. But he hurt his arm, and he almost was out of baseball for a career. But he basically went. You know, he got on a team, got released, got picked up by the Boston Red Sox, and reinvented his career. If you are somewhere between the ages of 45 and 60 and played wiffle ball out in the backyard, you have imitated Louis Tiant when you were a pitcher. He would stand there and he'd spin halfway around. He'd hesitate like Johnny Cueto, but a lot cooler and a lot better than Johnny Cueto, and then he'd pitch. You did that if you played wiffle ball a million times. I did that. He affected the whole country. He became a star in my eyes in 1975 when he was playing the Cincinnati Reds in the World Series, and me being a Cincinnati Reds player, or fan, Cincinnati Reds fan. And he pitched incredibly well. I actually saw him throw game of the week that over 170 pitches one time. You know, they didn't have pitch counts back then. But he was a fan favorite, and I really wish he would already be in there. I don't know if he's going to get in with this many people. This is a solid ballot. But if he doesn't get in, I wish they had some kind of special sometime that they put his father, who was a great pitcher in the Negro Leagues, in the Hall of Fame and do it the same time as him. And to me, that would be just classic. But I'm going to get back to Louis Tiant. He's a Hall of Famer to me. Do I think he's going to get in? I don't know. The next person I'm going to show you is Tommy John. Tommy John was a left-handed pitcher. I mainly recognize him for the Dodgers, but he played for many teams. He was the ace of a couple different staff. When I got to watch him play, you know, his career wasn't over, but he was never the ace of his staff. So I never thought highly of him. But he has some things working for him that can get him in. You know, he has over 287 wins, which might be the most wins of anybody not in the Hall of Fame. There might be somebody else there too, but so don't hold that against me if I'm wrong. But he's close. He's got, to me, he mirrors Jim Cott's career. The only thing, and I've heard this before, the only thing that's different between him and Jim Cott is Jim Cott won 15 or 16 Golden Gloves. So can I tell you this? I think a pitcher winning the Golden Glove is the worst thing that you could do to differentiate that pitcher with someone else. Because it is important for a pitcher to field his position. But a starting pitcher has 35 games, averages about 7 innings. You know, 250 innings, even back then, 300 innings, that was a lot of innings. So 250 innings, and he's measured, Jim Cott's measured on winning that Gold Glove for being a great defender. What you got to do is you got to be able to field bunts, and when the ball's hit on the right-hand side, you have to run down the line and get the throw from the first baseman. You would think you would have to be athletic, but Rick Russell, who's the most non-athletic pitcher that I knew, has won 3 Golden Gloves. That winning a Golden Glove, you know, yeah, that's a good. He's a good defender of that plate. But I've never in my lifetime heard a coach look at his assistant coach and say, should we bring in a defensive replacement at the pitcher's mound? Never happens. So I don't know. But what Tommy John does have going for him is his name, and we've all heard it. We've all heard Tommy John surgery over and over again, name recognition. And that might get him in, but I don't know who's going to get in. I think on this 8-man list, it's going to be tough for him in my eyes. Next person I'm going to show is Dave Parker. Now, Dave Parker, this is his rookie card. All these are their rookie cards. But this is 1974 Topps Dave Parker. When I was growing up, this was right in my heyday. Dave Parker was one of the greatest players that played as I was molding in my mind. I just remember the All-Star game and 2 great throws. I remember how strong an arm he had, how big an athlete he is, how fast he was sliding in. And what was incredible to me, I don't know, I think they had him listed at 210. Well, that's crap. He was 240. He could have played linebacker in the NFL for anybody. But when he used to slide into a base, his toes were straight up in the air all the time. And I've never seen anybody do a prettier pop-up slide than Dave Parker. Dave Parker's still alive. He's going to get in the Hall of Fame someday. Let's put him in while he's alive. That's all I want to say about that. Just put him in while he's alive. Now, he has some things against him. You know, he had some drug issues. He had some issues like that, but he played on 2 championship kind of teams, and that's with the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Oakland A's. And you know, he was a great player for the Cincinnati Reds, I believe, too. But that's another story right there that I'll have to tell you about. So I think Dave Parker is going to get in. I want Dave Parker to get in, but let me finalize this at the end. Last but not least, that of these 8 Hall of Fame potential people is Dick Allen. Dick Allen, to me, during a 10-year career, was about as good in baseball as anybody for those 10 years. His WAR was high. The way he was. You look on the back of his card, or you look on Baseball Reference, and it tells you that who he was most similar like in certain years. And there's guys on that list like Chipper Jones and Andre Dawson and different things. But you know who else is on that list? Willie Mays. If somebody is like Willie Mays in Willie Mays' prime, you know he was a heck of a player. Now, he has some stuff against him as well. You know, he wasn't well liked. He played in Philadelphia, and he wore he wore a batting helmet out in the field at first base. Matter of fact, he was not a very good defender. He was a third baseman and a outfielder early growing up, and he couldn't field a biscuit if he was starving to death. But when he was playing first base, he wore a helmet so he wouldn't get hit in the head with batteries. You know, I don't know if he was a good teammate or not. He wasn't really good with reporters. I believe that's why he was never put in initially. But he's going to get in sometime. He's been one vote short the last 2 times he's been on the ballot. Maybe that's enough to push him over. So, after I'm done with this, I'm going to talk to you just real quick. I'm going to tell you who is grossly unconsidered for the Hall of Fame, and it needs to change. But I believe the Hall of Famers are going to go like this. I think a Negro leaguer is going to be in. Since there's 2 Negro leaguers on the ballot, each person on the committee gets 3 votes. I think they get on the committee. They know who they're voting for. I think they know who they're voting for, and they're going to vote for that person, and they're going to vote for who they think is the best player that they might have played against or they might have heard about. And then I also think they're going to say, okay, there's 2 Negro leaguers. I'm going to put one in. And I believe it's going to be John Donaldson. Now, this is going against what Frank and Dom and Jake said. But the reason I say that, I think that Donaldson Network and Pete Gordon has given him a push over the last few years. In the last baseball committee that John Donaldson was on, Vic Harris was on that as well, and Vic Harris got more votes. But I believe if the committee doesn't come in there and they're fully educated by what Vic Harris has done, but they hear and see these video game-like numbers that John Donaldson put up, I think John Donaldson's going to be put over the top. So that's who I think is going to get the 3rd most votes is John Donaldson. So I think he's in. Now, listen, I got to say that as well, just to say this to Frank. Now, Frank, he's from my hometown. Frank, the Hall of Fame collector, who I respect a lot. He's from my hometown. Do I think he belongs in the Hall of Fame? I don't know, because I don't know the competition he played against. What I do know is I was the mayor of Glasgow at one time when we had a celebration of him. And so if I get on here and tell you I don't think he belongs in the Hall of Fame, I got 1,100 people that might drive by my house and throw eggs or something, and I got to see at church, at ball games, in the grocery store. So John Donaldson should go in the Hall of Fame. So the next person I think is going to get in the Hall of Fame with this is, and this is against what Frank and Dom and them said, but I've now changed my mind. I think Louis Tiant is fresh on people's mind. And if the right people get on, this is going to be the thing. If the right people get on the committee, he has a chance to get in. If the right people get on there. If the right people get on the committee, whoever has a chance. I don't think Tommy John is going to get on this year, even though he's well-deserved and known. He's in great health, and people see that. And you get in there and you think, okay, he's in great health. He's going to have another chance. Even though it's 3 years from now or 2 years from now, he's got another chance. But they're going to get on there, and they're going to see that Dave Parker is, in a different stage in his career. He's got health issues with Parkinson's and stuff. He's well liked. He's played in 3 big baseball towns. A lot of people played against him there that might be on that committee who I don't know. I think they're going to vote. They're going to vote for Dave Parker. So he's going to be my top vote getter, and that's going to be different. Now, I don't think Dick Allen's going to get in there this time, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all because he belongs in the Hall of Fame. But He's missed it by 1 point, 1 vote, 2 different times in a row. And the best predictor of the future is what has happened in the past. But he will get in if the right people are on that committee. But I'm rolling the dice saying there's going to be more Dave Parker fans on that committee than there is Dick Allen. But I have the chance to change my mind, please, once I see who's on the committee. Now, last but not least, tell me why Thurman Munson's not in the Hall of Fame. And I'll take any comments below. I know he had a short career. You know, he died in an airplane crash, and he was only in the league 10 years, 11 years, right? I don't know. Died in 79. I think his first game was in 69. His rookie card's in 70. This is his rookie card. When he played, he was one of the top 2 catchers in the American League the whole time, his whole career. The other one is Carlton Fisk. And I truly believe that Thurman Munson was better than Carlton Fisk. I remember as a young kid watching the 76 World Series where the Yankees got swept. But he was talked about as much as anybody on either team, whether it was good or bad. But I just remember Sparky Anderson being mic'd up and him walking out with Johnny Bench to take a picture out after Thurman Munson got a base hit, saying, "Man, that kid can hit. Gosh, he can hit." And Johnny Bench agreeing with him because couldn't get a pitch by him. He was on a streak. So, guys, that's the 8 people on the Eras committee, plus Thurman Munson, who needs to be put in the Hall of Fame soon. I'm going to do a video about Thurman Munson coming up as I add to my Just a Little Bit Outside collection. Now, am I going to be 100% right? There's a good chance I'm going to be wrong. But I put some thought and logic into it, I believe. Just like Jake, Dom, and Frank put some logic into it. Now, I'm glad I didn't just say, why is he getting in? Because I like him better. Do some research on your own. You tell me in your comments below who you think belongs in the Hall of Fame and who's going to get in there. Do it before December 8th because that's when the list comes out. Make sure you tune in every Thursday to watch my Just a Little Bit Outside, along with some stuff I'm going to be doing, various times. Listen, guys, I'm having a super time doing these, and I'm having a blast. And thanks for watching me throughout the year. I am going to be doing a video coming up about my top 100 cards in my collection. Look for that down the road. But remember, guys, it is just a hobby. Collect what you like.